Hey, YouTube family, how's everybody doing? I want to continue my series on. I started a series on Puerto Rican participation in all our wars from the Spanish American War up to present time. The only reason I did that because I'm from Puerto Rican descent and I'm also an Army veteran with 20 years in the service. So I figured if I'm going to start this channel, which is brand new, I want to give a little, shout out to my Puerto Rican brothers and put our history out there. It's a brand new channel. Appreciate it if you like and subscribe. It will, help out the channel greatly if you do that. Um, Before I get in topic, I want to talk about a video that I did in the past. It had to do with remember the No Kings Parade and people protesting in the millions in the street about the No Kings Parade. That people claim that the only reason Trump wanted to celebrate the Army's birthday was because he also wanted to celebrate his birthday. So I put that video out, and I find it surprising that it went viral, and especially the comments. Just about everybody agreed with me that the soldiers weren't really into it, and they must have been protesting. So you could check it out. So you could form your own opinion. Okay, so I want to talk about Operation Urgent Fury, which took place in 1983 in Grenada. Puerto Ricans also participated in this, and it's a U.S.-led invasion to restore order after a military coup in Grenada. 7,000 troops participated. Now you got to understand, Grenada was at that time controlled by Cuba. So when we invaded Grenada, we also had to fight the Cuban soldiers that were there. Puerto Rican soldiers served across Army, Air Force, Marines, and Navy. The 82nd Airborne parachuted in, which included Puerto Ricans from both the island and the mainland. Puerto Ricans also participated with the Air Force and Navy in airstrikes, communications, logistics, and medical evacuation. Now, an interesting I want to talk about Grenada, well, it's related to Grenada anyway. After I left recruiting duty, I was assigned to the 25th Infantry Division up at Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. And at that time, we had a first sergeant who just finished coming back from Fort Benning. He happened to be the NCOIC of Ranger School. So we were converting from heavy infantry to light infantry. So they sent us to Fort Benning as a unit, the battalion, uh, to the Light Fighters Course, they call it. And it was run by the Ranger School. So, of course, when we got there, all the Rangers knew First Sergeant Stanley because he just finished being the NCOIC. But the reason that I'm related to Grenada is because a lot of the cadre, the Ranger School cadre, were veterans of the Grenada invasion. And they used to brag about when they were giving us ambush techniques, or teaching us their ambush techniques, they were bragging about how they conducted all these operations against the Cubans. And inside, I was laughing to myself because I knew that they were only there for a few weeks. And I said to myself, come on, how many ambushes did you guys actually conduct? And, being cadre, Ranger cadre, they were bragging about uh, their accomplishments with the Cubans. And meanwhile, the reason I laughed because I spent a year in Vietnam and we were on ambush every 3 days, and I was there for a year, so I find that kind of funny. I'm sorry that I got off topic, but I figured I had to add my 2 cents on that. Now, Operation Just Cause, Panama, 1989. U.S. forces invaded Panama to overthrow dictator Manuel Noriega and to protect U.S. nationals. 26,000 troops participated. Now, President Manuel Noriega was the president of Panama. He was also a drug dealer. He had connections with Pablo Escobar, the famous drug lord from Colombia. So I know that he's in a U.S. prison right now. I'm not sure if he's still alive. I didn't do the research on that, but um, he was a drug lord. He was a dictator. So they got there. We were able to get him off power. Puerto Rican soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division, 7th Infantry Division, uh, military police, and special forces. I used to be a member of the 7th. up from Fort Ord, California. Many served in urban combat, airborne drops, and security operations in post-invasion. We did have a casualty of Puerto Rican casualty. Puerto Rican Staff Sergeant Luis Rosario was killed in action, one of the U.S. casualties during the invasion. Now, I want to tell you a little side story of Panama, which you're going to find interesting. After I left the 25th, again, the Army decided to send me to be a recruiter again. And I was stationed at Long Island City, Queens. I was a station commander. And one day, this kid, he came into my office, and I'm thinking that he wants to join the Army, but no. He was all agitated and excited. He wanted to talk about Panama, because he was Panamanian. He wanted to talk about that he knew the layout of the tunnels that go under the palace of the President Noriega, because he happened to be one of the engineers and construction workers. So he knew the whole layout, and he wanted to give our military intelligence this information. Now, mind you, this is before, a week prior to the Panama invasion. I didn't know anything about the plans for the United States planning to invade Panama, and once this happened a week later, the invasion took place. I said to myself, well, how did this kid know this information? That the United States was planning on invading Panama. Anyway, to make a long story short, I reported this information to military intelligence at Fort Hamilton, Brooklyn. They just looked at me like I was crazy. They didn't pay me no mind, but I just found it interesting that this kid knew all this information. Operation Desert Shield. Again, Puerto Ricans participate in that. Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Gulf War, 1990-1991. I thought I was going to participate in that war because I was on my way to, I had orders to go to Fort Ord, California, to be stationed with the 7th Infantry Division. And in my mind, the fighting was going on in the Gulf War. In my mind, I figured that the 7th was also going to be sent. But that never happened. A large coalition led by the U.S. to liberate Kuwait from Iraqi occupation. 500,000 Jews participated, folks. Over 1,700 Puerto Rican troops deployed from the island, with thousands more from the mainland. Okay, they participated in Army combat units, Navy and Air Force support missions, logistics, transportation, field medics, and engineers. Also, units from Puerto Rico's National Guard were also mobilized and deployed. So that's my short summary on my series of Puerto Ricans in the military. Please like and subscribe. I'll greatly appreciate it. Check out that video that I talked about the No Kings Parade. And take care, folks. And until the next one. Bye.